You're listening to Supervision with a Vision, where we discuss all things supervision. I'm your host, Sarah, professional counselor, marriage and family therapist, play therapist, eating disorder specialist, and cookie lover, with my co-host, Heather, marriage and family therapist, certified Together in Texas counselor, a Texas transplant from California, and outdoor adventurer. Hi, welcome to Supervision with a Vision. Today, Heather and I are talking about bullying in the workplace. This week, we read Working with Adults Who Bully, published in Counseling Today, 2023. Heather, even as you and I were talking about recording this, we had lots of examples, personal and for our supervisees. The first point in the article is that bullying can cause anxiety, depression, isolation, somatic concerns. Have you felt that or seen that for yourself?
I've seen it for myself, yes. And I've definitely seen it for my supervisees.
Mm-hmm.
I can look back at times when I worked in some clinic-based settings, and I'm not even sure I was aware enough to put all the pieces together until it got so bad, like blatantly on, like in your face, that you're like, oh, that's what this, oh, it's not my fault. Like, oh, it's not me.
I feel like that is reasonable and probably happens a lot, because would you expect that there would be bullying in a counseling setting?
Right. That seems kind of like strange. Like, how does that even happen?
Right. And that's why I like that we started with that bullying can cause all of these things, that you might need some signs or signals to help yourself identify, oh, I think this is a problem.
Right.
I think this, because like you said, it goes over your head, or you miss some of the signs before it's really big.
Often, especially in our line of work, we think, oh, that's a me thing. Like, I must have anxiety about this. I must be not doing, at least in my experience, a lot of people go inward first. They don't tend to blame someone else in the house.
They take on the responsibility.
Right. I need to change what I'm doing. I need to fix this. I need to,
I'm thinking, that, and not necessarily have I seen this or felt it firsthand related specifically to what I was doing as a counselor, but the dynamics of a work situation. I wonder if we can think of any. I don't know. I mean, some silly ideas that I don't know that I've ever experienced, like somebody eating my sandwich,
right, or
something like that. But what would that look like? What would this kind of bullying look like?
I think it can be, especially if you're talking about in a like clinic setting, right, where there's a lot of you working in one space, and somebody is eating sandwiches, or they're calling names, talking bad about people. A lot of that, I think our brain just goes, okay, that's workplace dynamics. Like,
right.
But when you start realizing that maybe a group of people is affected, or there's this shift in culture.
What about, teasing, we both said that no one's ever eaten my lunch,
right.
But could that be someone not respecting your space or your stuff somehow?
Absolutely. In fact, I can relate to that very, very well. I had a situation where we all had kind of like cubicles, and you shared, the morning person and the afternoon person shared a cubicle. Well, I can remember like things just being completely like coming in and like being completely disarrayed, moved around. Even personal items, not just like, oh, the keyboard's different, but like moved all around. Taking twice I came in and found my sweater just on the floor. Like, okay, I left my sweater behind, but like, can we throw it on the counter? Does it need to, things like that you're like, again, in the moment, I don't think I like went, oh, they're a bully. Like in my head, I didn't go there, but I was like, that's not right.
What about, I'm thinking and imagining what you're describing, I'm picturing some workplaces where the counselors worked in a room where there were computers or desks around the wall, and they were kind of all, so then, there was a center of the room. Right. But I'm picturing sometimes where someone new came in, like a student, an intern, or just the newest hire, and no one tries to make room.
Right.
There's no one moves like, here, you can have this spot, or this would be a good, no one makes it welcoming and to any degree. So then it's completely unwelcoming.
Right.
I think could be like an example of not respecting somebody's space or their stuff.
Right. There was a situation at a clinic I worked at. One wall was windows. It was tinted, but one wall was windows. And so that desk that faced that way was incredibly hot.
Oh,
like
yeah.
we worked in the desert. It just was incredibly hot all the time. And that was where they always wanted to put
the new person.
And I mean, I had been the new person. So I had done my stint of being in that spot. And as soon as someone moved on, I was quick to grab a cooler spot, truthfully.
Yeah.
But instead, one day we were talking about something with my manager who kind of was like, we were going to do some things around the office that were moving some things. And I was like, and can we put nobody there? And it was like, I had never like, oh, yeah, we should definitely put the file cabinets over there. Yeah. We definitely should. But I think that wasn't necessarily a case of bullying, but it was one of those things where the new person coming in got the brunt of whatever the negative, spot was.
Okay, what about, you said name calling. Now, I mean, we're not talking like elementary school playground situation where somebody calls you a booger head.
Right.
What would that be like in a work setting with counselors where there's kind of some name calling happening?
I think people call, and I think they even use our terminology, right?
Yep.
Like our words that we all like to own.
Right.
But I think when they do that, they do it with such intention and conviction.
Right.
Like, well, she's just narcissistic. This is what she is.
Oh,
like being very cutting.
Throwing around some diagnoses.
Right. Making it very.
What about, I have heard a handful of counselors say that person is really cognitive.
Oh, yes. Yes. Like, yeah.
And what do you think they mean when they say that?
Like that they're very like following the list of things.
I think and maybe,
right.
I don't know, but I thought they meant they're not in touch with their feelings.
Right. They're not feeling based at all.
They are intellectualizing things or in their head.
Strategic.
Not a positive.
No, not a positive.
I mean, if someone said, oh, she's very strategic about me, I would think, oh,
maybe I am.
That's kind of positive. Thanks. But so how else would you describe, they're very cognitive.
Like they don't think past what is right. And almost the opposite, right?
Like they just concrete.
Concrete is how my brain went to. Like they just do what's in front.
Which, right? Wouldn't that be name calling?
Right.
In a group of people who value that feelings
matter
and higher level thinking and being intellectual. If you say that person's very concrete.
Right.
Yeah. Like akin to Neanderthal.
Right. I mean,
right. What else would a group of counselors say about someone that's name calling, like a diagnosis or saying you're very concrete, you're very cognitive?
I had a supervisee report to me one time that her colleague, who had been kind of like her shadow mentor person at her site, time and time again, in front of people in a staff meeting would say, well, your transference is all over the place. Very abrupt and very like...
That is a good example.
Like...
Right? Because it's definitely counselor lingo.
Right. But
applying it that way.
Right. In such a negative tone, in such a, like, in a hurtful way. Whether it was or wasn't, that definitely isn't the way to address it. But I think as counselors, and I'm sure lots of different workspaces have different, like, ideas of, depending on your population you're working with or whatever, but I think it does tend to, using your vocabulary for your profession in a negative light is definitely a form of bullying.
Yeah, yeah. One of the points that we identified in our outline for our episode, somatic concerns.
Oh, yeah.
Who have you run across, or maybe this has happened to you, where in a work setting, things are getting so negative that you feel it?
Oh, yeah. I think I've myself carry a lot of tension in my shoulders and my neck. I start going, oh, why am I so like, I start moving my shoulders around and trying to figure it out. I've had reports from supervisees like, yeah, all of us have like a stomach thing going on. We don't know what it is. Yes. Like, oh, maybe it's the water we're drinking. Like they literally are looking for any kind of response.
Right.
So,
I don't know. I've worked with counselors that have newly developed migraines, stomach issues.
Right.
Like you're describing, all kind of back pain, shoulder pain, headaches.
Carrying all that.
And you're right. Magically, we don't know where it came from and we don't know what's causing
Right.
it.
It's not a flu because it's not going away. It's
Right.
not,
Yeah. Or maybe you're a person who doesn't miss a lot of work and suddenly you're either starting to miss some work or really struggling to make yourself go.
Right.
Because you don't feel well.
Right.
Maybe not sleeping well.
Right. Not getting that deeper sleep,
Mm-hmm.
just being very alert all night long.
Mm-hmm. I had a job where my commute was really long.
No,
now that I say that, I've had lots of jobs where I thought that the commute was something was this bad part of this job. And it was actually just driving there put me in such a bad mood.
Yeah. Where you're like, no, I don't even want to be here.
Right. The commute maybe wasn't like a part of my day that I looked forward to, but because I was driving to work, it was that much more miserable. And then the way that I realized that was then making that same drive when I either no longer worked there or was about to quit.
Was it also different? You're like,
it wasn't nearly as bad. Yeah. That just the knowing I was headed towards work was making it miserable. The next point in the article is that we are, as adults who experience bullying in the workplace, sometimes slow to ask for help.
Right. I think that ties in that. One, would we want to even admit that could possibly happen in a workplace as an adult? And then isn't bullying just what happens to kids? Like, I don't want to, think that this is, and if no one else is talking about it and you're the one being bullied, then do you feel safe?
Right.
Like going to certain
absolutely.
people,
absolutely.
Do you feel like you could say anything?
Earlier, you said that the likelihood that we take on the responsibility of what's happening is high.
Right.
I think that's also a reason that we're slow to ask for help. I had a supervisee, I thought she was amazing, and she was working in a setting that was hard for her. And I could see physically, so also thinking about the somatic concerns, and she wasn't telling me very much, but I could see week to week, she looked tired. She looked slightly less put together.
Right.
She was less organized. She started out with a notepad of things that she wanted to talk about. And gradually that wasn't happening as much. And finally she said, I think I'm really bad at this job.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, tell what, I mean, from what you're describing to me, I think that you're doing really well and you're learning, but tell me what's going on. And what she described was a lot of bullying in the workplace. And so what was happening to her was a lot of isolation. She was feeling it. So a lot of somatic complaints. And that the expectation of what she was to do compared to what other people were doing was completely unreasonable.
Oh,
They were expecting in a 40-hour work week that she probably, I can't remember exactly, but it was much too much. I want to say 35 direct hours. Every week.
Wow.
In addition to a lot of meetings, and a lot of documentation and other things.
You said the documentation alone for that would take 10 hours.
And so what she was telling herself was, I must just be bad at this, that I can't do it.
Right. Like internally, just going to a spot of like, I'm just not good enough.
So it took, I would say, probably 2 months before she spoke up and said, she didn't say that I'm experiencing bullying. She said, I'm not good at this.
Right. Took her a long time to just kind of come to that realization that she was even struggling.
And she's just the example that sticks out to me, but I feel like I've had plenty of supervisees that in some way felt like that they were not achieving what they should achieve, but in reality, it was a version of bullying.
Right. I think that can happen. I've had supervisees that have like ridiculous expectations by their on-site supervisors of, one example I can think of that's fairly recent was notes. Like every clinic or every space has a different way that they want. And yes, you're working there, so you have to like learn their way or whatever. But like so critiquing and so specific that like she'd never get caught up. There'd never be a case of getting caught up. I mean, it was just like that. This is like we're being asked to correct notes that are 12 weeks old. Do you even really remember what happened 12 weeks ago? So.
This is making me think, slow to ask for help. Even, you and I both see quite a few kids as clients, and kids talk about bullying in school, and so they know the word and they know what it means and how it feels. I don't know that they know how to handle it.
Right.
Even though they talk about it a lot. So
Right.
as adults, we still haven't figured out how
Right.
to handle it.
Well,
So then we're slow to ask for help.
Well, and again, we're all adults who were not taught bullying, and
True.
that wasn't even
that wasn't curriculum back
we
then.
didn't learn that, so we're like, oh, well, is this really? Wait, can that even happen?
Right. Maybe this is a conclusion of both of our first 2 points, but the last point is taking things personally.
Right.
That if this is happening, a lot of times people are taking this personally.
Right. I've worked with plenty of families in different situations where the mom will explain what's going on and a kid's being bullied, clearly, like just plain as day. But even the mom hasn't, like, she's just being too sensitive about it. Like, this shouldn't, this is too. And I think that we do that as adults too. Like,
yeah, I hadn't thought of that. I'm so glad you said it. So that means, and that there's the mom kid.
Right. Dynamic.
Right? So as a supervisor, then we need to be mindful of not saying, well, you just have to deal with it.
Right.
I mean, that's what work is. So you just have to put up with it, which is not the case.
Right. And I think it's when you tend to do that and you go inward like that, you're going to create a bigger, like, you're almost feeding the monster, right? You're already feeling anxious. You're already feeling depressed. You're already feeling like some isolation or having just somatic responses. And then you're going even more internally and taking it personally. There probably feels like there's no out.
Mm-hmm. So our role as supervisors is to give them an out.
Right.
Is to acknowledge that this can happen. And this is what it can look like.
Right. At what point do you think you would intervene for a supervisee if they weren't able to advocate for themselves?
I am a kid who beat up some other kids for my little brother.
Okay.
So that's hard. Maybe on more than one occasion did I beat up another kid for my younger brother. I think I'd want to jump in quickly, but the example that I gave earlier of the supervisee that thought she was doing a bad job, or maybe she's just not good at this, we talked about how she could advocate for herself.
Right, like role-playing it out, talking through like what that would look like.
I think it was a turning point just for me to say to her what was being asked was unreasonable. She didn't know.
Right.
So that even in that way, that's a very tiny baby step towards advocating. But you're right. Yeah, we role played. We talked about who she could talk to, who would be the appropriate person to talk to, how you advocate for yourself in a professional way at work.
To make sure that you're actually heard and you're doing it in a respectful way so you don't cause any more of the same behavior.
So I think to me that's not the only way that this can happen, but we as supervisors have a really important role in helping them to acknowledge that this is happening, that it's real, that it does have an important impact.
And that if we are seeing it just by the report, and remember, we're not getting all of it. We're only getting what they share.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Maybe, and we've talked about this in other episodes, the importance of building an important relationship in a safe place in supervision. So that they do talk about this.
Absolutely.
Well, Heather and I would love to hear about ways that you are acknowledging and addressing bullying in the workplace with your supervisees. Thanks today for listening to Supervision with a Vision.